For those of you that want a too long didn't read version of this video, training Muay Thai in Thailand can pretty much be summed up as eat, sleep, train, repeat. Video over. Just to give you all an update, I've been dealing with an abscess that ruptured and made me feel pretty sick. So I've been taking a forced break from training to just rest and recover for a while. The 2 times Muay Thai world champion Shin was recently telling us how getting your arm broken during a fight is much better than getting your jaw broken. With a broken arm, at least you can still enjoy food, drinking, and chats with friends. It's pretty unreal to think that Shin would have gained this wisdom from first-hand experience during his time as a fighter. This very much reinforced the perspective that things could always be worse, and reminded me to always stay grateful, even though things aren't exactly going to plan at the moment, and I can barely sit down. As much as I normally stress the importance of adequate rest and recovery, in truth, I had no plans of following my advice throughout this trip, as my priority was to get the most out of the experience and maximize training hours while I'm here under the guidance of such talented coaches and fighters. Please learn from me though, and listen to your body. The combination of a harsh climate and a lack of rest and recovery leaves your body in a very rundown state. In this rundown state, your body will be far more prone to infection and sickness, as it's using its resources for other purposes. Finding your limits by pushing to extreme ends of the spectrum is satisfying, but can easily cause irreparable damage, so I really can't recommend it for recreational purposes. If you're trying to build a Goggins-like mindset or achieve greatness, then by all means come out here and carry the boats.
Dude! Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? That's you, buddy! Come on, 23!
As my time training Muay Thai in Thailand has come to an end, I want to give you a full breakdown of what it was like, both the good and the bad aspects, the mindset and physical changes that I've noted, a rough breakdown of the overall costs of living here in Thailand, and my overall thoughts of the experience as a whole. Days here start nice and early, with the pre-workout run starting anywhere from 7 AM onward. I prioritise the trainings themselves, so I've neglected running while I've been here, but have generally good cardio levels from the amount of tennis I play while I'm in Australia. Personally, doing a run on top of both trainings and privates was too much for me after the first week. There is a chance that if I'd given it more time, my body would have adapted. But realistically, it was only toward the last week that I feel like I've truly built enough endurance to add running back into my routine. I think it's worth mentioning that if you are able to consistently commit to doing the morning runs, you'll see massive improvements to your cardio, which will buffer your stamina for fighting. So definitely experiment when you get here to find what works best for you and your fitness levels. Whether that be a combination of 1 run and 1 training session, both training sessions without a run, or just going balls to the wall and doing both training sessions on top of the morning runs. There's no real right answer, and I've noticed that most people take a different approach to reach their individual goals. Waking up a little earlier in the mornings and starting the day off with a cold shower and morning meditation has become standard practice for me. I found it to be a very therapeutic way to get my mind right for the day ahead. While for a lot of people, the morning run alone would meet their exercise quota for the day, for Muay Thai athletes, the day has barely even begun. The morning sessions begin at 8 AM sharp and go for 2 hours. I've made it mandatory that I hit at least 1 of the group training sessions per day, but including the privates, I'll generally hit 2. The morning sessions start off with 15 minutes of skipping, and the rest of the session is generally broken up into a combination of conditioning exercises, shadow boxing, pad work, bag work, sparring, clinching, and some light stretching to finish off and cool down. Following the morning session, you have a large break in your day to pretty much do whatever you want. During this time, I'll generally find a cafe to either relax at, read, write, or even edit a YouTube video. If I'm not working on my YouTube channel, then I'll generally take the time to explore the island and tick off some side quests while I'm here. Cruising along the windy roads through long stretches of jungle makes it hard not to feel like you're in the real life version of Far Cry 3. Exploring the beautiful beaches and the viewpoints scattered throughout the island is the perfect way to recharge your batteries and leave you feeling fresh for the afternoon training. The afternoon training session goes from 4 till 6 p.m. and generally follows a similar structure to the morning sessions. The Thai fighters have fully adapted to this intense training schedule and have even told me that their sessions start earlier, go for longer, and are even more brutal than the training regime that we follow. It's easy to look at this and apply the same expectations to yourself and your own trainings, but reality will check you hard, and you'll soon realise that they have adapted to this lifestyle over many years, with the majority of the fighters starting at a very young age. The dedication to their craft is extremely inspiring and drives you to push yourself further and harder. But it is still a lengthy process conditioning your body to the point that you can treat training like it's your full-time job. After training for the day is complete, I found it extremely important to do something for recovery. Stretching and a healthy meal with the other people at camp always made me feel like I was well recovered by the following morning, so that I was in a good state to train again. Other essentials were ice bath, sauna, and massage at least once per week, all of which are relatively cheap and affordable in Thailand. Now to give you all a rough idea of costs while living out here in Thailand, I'd spend roughly 600 baht a day on food and drink, which is around 27 Australian dollars per day. This might come as a shock to some people, as admittedly, it does seem like a lot. But keep in mind that all meals were eaten out and prepared for me, and my energy requirements to facilitate the trainings and recovery were pretty high. This meant that I needed to consume a lot more calories on a daily basis than the average person. Training sessions total 10,000 baht for the month, which is roughly 455 Australian dollars. This works out to around $15 a day, which I think is extremely reasonable for the quality and duration of the training sessions you are getting while you're out here. Accommodation in the bamboo huts was 6,000 baht per month, which works out to 272 Australian dollars or 9 Australian dollars per day. Vehicle hire and petrol costs added up to around 4,000 baht per month, making the daily cost around 6 Australian dollars. Additional expenses, such as laundry, toiletries and recovery, were relatively negligible, so allow around 100 to 200 or 5 to 10 Australian dollars per day to cover these costs. The total cost of living worked out to around 67 Australian dollars per day, which is 1,575 baht per day in Thai currency. This gives us a weekly average of 427 Australian dollars and a monthly cost average of around 1,830 Australian dollars, with the majority of expenditure going on food, trainings, accommodation and vehicle hire. Keep in mind that I've done all my calculations in Australian dollars, so if you're working with US dollars or pounds, it will sound a lot cheaper. I'd by no means classify this as the most frugal budget, as there were much cheaper options available, such as sleeping in a tent in the ring, and obviously much cheaper ways of eating, which would cut costs substantially. It does, however, represent a realistic mid-range budget, which I feel will allow you to get the most out of the experience without having to be overly conscious and frugal around your spending. I trained a total of 7 weeks without missing a single day's training, and the results were pretty unreal. I achieved my goal of fast-tracking my learning in the sport and developing a greater understanding around what it takes to be a fighter. With the help of the coaches and people around me, I also pushed myself harder and further physically and mentally than I ever had before. While I didn't set out with the intention of improving my body composition and losing weight, it has been another obvious byproduct of the demanding lifestyle while I've been out here. Coaches commented that my build quickly changed to that of a fighter, which I attribute largely to my commitment to attending the trainings and giving them my all. It has been an extremely challenging but rewarding experience. I've also noticed that the work ethic I put in toward Muay Thai during my time here has transferred over to other areas of my life, and I'm now finding it fun to apply the same intensity and dedication to other areas in my life, such as my YouTube channel. The trainers and all the other incredible people you meet out here make it a unique and rewarding experience that I can't recommend enough. I'm already making plans to return to Koh Phangan next year, as it truly started to feel like a home away from home. I also really want other people to experience what life is like in Thailand for themselves. So if there's anything I've missed that you would like me to cover, or any questions you want answered, then please drop them down below, and I'll do everything I can to help out and get you started on your own adventure. The personal growth you'll see on an adventure like this is truly life-changing and will pay dividends for years to come. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or abuse, please feel free to drop them down below.